Yehovah, please fill me with the Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, amen. We'll start with the Shema, listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity with himself, and you shall act upon your love to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts in mind, with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Hand, behold, nail, behold. Genesis chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, along with everything in them. On the seventh day God was finished with his work, which he had made. So he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. God blessed the seventh day and separated it as holy, because on that day God rested from all his work which he had created, so that it itself could produce. Here is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created, on the day when Yehovah, God, made earth and heaven. There was as yet no wild bush on the earth, so no wild plant had as yet sprung up, for Yehovah, God, had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no one to cultivate the ground. Rather, a mist went up from the earth, which watered the entire surface of the ground. Then Yehovah, God, formed the person, in Hebrew, Adam, from the dust of the ground, in Hebrew, Adamah, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, so that he became a living being. Yehovah, God, planted a garden toward the east, in Eden, and there he put a person whom he had formed. Out of the garden Yehovah, God, caused to grow every tree pleasing in appearance and good for food, including the tree of life in the middle of the garden and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided into 4 streams. The name of the first is Pishon. Its winds throughout the land of Havilah, where there is gold. And gold in that land is good. Aromatic raisin and onyx stone are found on there. The name of the second river is Gishon. Its winds throughout the land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris. It is the one that flows towards the east of Ashur. The fourth is the river Euphrates. Yehovah, God, took the person and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Yehovah, God, gave the person this order: you may freely eat of every tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You are not to eat of it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. Yehovah, God, said, it isn't good that a person should be alone. I will make for him a companion suitable for helping him. So from the ground, Yehovah, God, formed every wild animal and every bird that flies in the air, and he brought them to the person to see what he would call them. Whatever the person would call each living creature, that was to be its name. So the person gave names to all the livestock, to the birds in the air, and to every wild animal. But for Adam, there was not found a companion suitable for helping him. Then God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the person. And while he was sleeping, he took one of the ribs and closed up the place from which he took it with flesh. The rib which Yehovah God had taken from the person, he made a woman person, and he brought her to the man person. The man person said, at last, this is bone from my bone and flesh from my flesh. She is to be called woman, in Hebrew, Isha, because he was taken from man, in Hebrew, Ish. This is why a man is to leave his father and mother and stick with his wife, and they are to be one flesh. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. How can we learn to love our Creator after reading Genesis 2? We can learn some great things about the creation, about the seventh day. We can trust that after 6 days, the heavens and the earth were finished. Know that on the seventh day, Elohim ceased from his work. Know that Elohim blessed the seventh day and separated it as holy. He rested and allowed his creation to produce. Know the history of the heavens of the earth. Yehovah created a mist to come up from the earth, because at that time rain was not caused to come down from Yehovah yet. Know that Yehovah formed a human from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, so that he became a living being. Know that Yehovah planted a garden to the east of Eden, and he put the person in the garden. We can trust that it is Yehovah who makes all things grow, including the tree of life, located in the middle of the garden, as well as the tree of good and evil, which is function and dysfunction. Know that from the one river, 4 rivers were formed in the garden. Trust that Yehovah took the person and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Know that Yehovah gave the person this order: you may freely eat from every tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You are not to eat from it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. Trust that Yehovah said it isn't good or functional that the person be alone. I will make for him a companion suitable for helping him. Know that from the ground Yehovah formed all animals, birds, and that the person was to name all of them. Know that in naming all of them, he did not find a companion suitable for helping him. Trust that Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon him. While he was sleeping, he took one of the ribs, and Yehovah made a woman person, and he brought her to the man person. Know that the man person said, "At last, this is bone from my bone and flesh from my flesh. She is to be called woman, for she was taken out of man. This is why man is to leave his father and mother and stick with his wife, and they are to become one flesh." How can we love others as Yeshua loves us? We can teach others by example to rest as Elohim rested. Pray that Yehovah will prepare us for our companion so we can obey him as a unit. Produce spiritual fruit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. And how can we bear one another's burdens? We can pray for those who are single and preparing to be a companion who is suitable. And with the Aaronic blessing. Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards you, bringing order, and he will provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and will set in place all you need to be whole and complete.